Ladies and gentlemen, let us all rise for the arrival of the Honorable Senate President and the Senators of the Republic of the Philippines.
The 59th session of the Senate in the third regular session of the 17th Congress is hereby called to order. The chamber will be led in prayer by Senator Grace Poe.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Sa pagkakataong gumawa ng mga batas para sa ikaayos at ikakasagana ng bansa, sa pagkakataong maging instrumento ng pagpapalabas ng katotohanan sa ating mga iniimbestigahan, sa pagkakataong maglingkod sa aming mga kababayan, sa pagkakataong matuto mula sa karunungan at lakas ng isa't isa. Maraming salamat, Panginoon. Sa nalalabing mga araw na magkakasama kami sa bulwagang ito, bigyan mo po kami ng higit pang lakas at sigasig para suriin ang mga panukalang batas na inihaharap sa amin, na walang tinitignan o kinakatigan, kundi ang kabutihan ng sambayanan. Amen.
Amen.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
The Secretary will please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, De Lima, Drilon, Ejercito, Escudero, Gatchalian, Gordon, Onasan, Ontiveros, Lacson, Legarda, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Recto, Trillanes, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
Are you sure it's 14? 15? With 14 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move with the permission of the body to defer the approval of the Journal of the 58th Session Tuesday, May 28, 2019 for a later hour. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, so deferred. 15.
Walang effort to visit. Mr. President, we'd like to recognize some guests, particularly our mayor from Cabangan, Zambales, Mayor Ronald Apostol. And we also have the family of the late Levi Laos, who is also a good friend of mine and a good friend of many senators. They are here to receive the resolution honoring the late Levi Laos. We have Maria Teresa Laos, Paul Tristan Laos, Lisette Laos Velasco, and the rest of the family. Mr. President, may we do this first to suspend session and allow them to receive the honor or the resolution approved by the Senate on the honoring their late father.
All right. Session suspended.
Saan? Napasan na ba natin yan?
Okay lang, kasi... Ang iyakin din, PUP.
Session resumed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we recognize Senator Anfiloping Lacson to deliver a privileged speech, Mr. President.
Senator Panfilo Lacson is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. We spend a great deal of taxpayers' money for an automated processing system, X-ray scanners, even for brokers' accreditation, not to mention fairly high salaries for seasoned military men at the helm of the Bureau of Customs. But at the end of the day, all our efforts be damned, we're still one hell of a mess. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise before you on a matter of personal and collective privilege. To say that our country is treated like trash appears to be true, as in literally. Amid news reports of tons of waste being illegally shipped into our lands, no thanks to local and foreign smugglers, unscrupulous customs brokers, and corrupt customs officials. These massive shipments of toxic goods have taken many forms, from imported hazardous garbage to billions of pesos worth of smuggled illegal drugs. In the face of all this, the Bureau of Customs appears to be constantly blindsided and remiss in its mandate as the gatekeeper of our borders. Mr. President, these appalling stories cannot be narrated without disgust and revulsion, but they must be told. Nearly 6 years ago, from mid-2013 to 2014, our national pride took a severe blow when a total of 103 containers of Canadian garbage, from plastic bottles to household waste to used adult diapers, were illegally shipped into our lands. Falsely labeled as plastics for recycling, the discovered shipments were later classified as hazardous wastes. Luckily for us, we're about to bid this rotten problem goodbye. For a start, the Canadian trash is sailing back to Canada. We will await further developments on future garbage return expeditions to Australia, South Korea, Hong Kong, and God knows where else. Nevertheless, we take our hats off to the strong political will and grim determination of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and the Secretary of Foreign Affairs for standing their ground on this issue. Tomorrow, May 30, 69 container vans will be loaded with over 1,000 tons of garbage to be shipped back to Ottawa, Canada. Sad but true. There's already a bandwagon of nations that designate our country as the official dump site of Southeast Asia. In July and October of 2018, South Korea exported 5 tons of garbage in 51 containers consigned by Verde Soco Philippines Industrial. Early this year, 25 tons of electronic and residual waste from Hong Kong, misdeclared as assorted electronic accessories, also arrived at the Mindanao International Container Terminal. The cargo was reportedly a trial shipment by Hin Yuen Technical ENP Limited. If the said shipment successfully passed our ports, 70 more containers of waste await to be dumped in our borders. Just last week, Australia shipped 7 container vans of shredded municipal waste in our country. Worse, the shipment's broker was the same company that handled the importation from South Korea. Unfortunately for us, shipments of foreign refuse are not the only garbage that continue to permeate and pollute our country. Illegal drugs, the worst kind of toxic goods that reek of evil and leave pernicious effects on at least 1 million souls in our society today, have also found their way into this benighted land. Ang nakaka-stress pa, Mr. President, makailang ulit ng pinalitan ang Commissioner ng Customs, pero hindi pa rin masawata ang pagpasok ng illegal na droga. Imbes na magpataasan sila ng koleksyon ng buwis, tila naging padamihan sila ng mga drogang pumapasok sa mga adwana ng bansa. We have seen ingenious schemes of illegal drug smuggling in the recent re-leadership of the Bureau of Customs. From the metal cylinders during the time of Mr. Nicanor Faildon, to the magnetic lifters of General Isidro La Peña, to the most recent tea bags and tapioca starch of incumbent Commissioner Ray Leonardo Guerrero. Truly, drug traffickers and their cohorts in the government still continue to evolve into becoming the masters of their own crop. Mr. President, sa mahabang serye ng pagdinig sa isyu ng 6.4 billion peso na halaga ng shabu na nasa kote sa Valenzuela City noong Mayo 2017, tayo ay namulat sa mga karakter ng drug smuggling tulad ng consignees for hire, Filipino-Chinese middlemen, mga tuso at konektadong customs brokers, at mga walang kabusugan sa pera na tiwaling customs officials. Sa puntong ito, ating balikan ng ilang sa mga malalaking shipment ng illegal na droga na natimbog ng ating otoridad sa nakalipas na mga buwan. Kung gaano kalaki ang mga nakalusot, ang milyong mga adik na ang bahalang sumagot. On August 7, 2018, 500 kilograms of shabu worth 4 billion pesos were discovered in the abandoned Vecaba shipment consigned to one Vedasto Cabral Barakel, trading at the Manila International Container Port. 3 days later, 4 magnetic lifters consigned to SNYD shipment, which allegedly concealed high-grade shabu, estimated by authorities at 6.8 billion pesos, were found, albeit empty, at the warehouse in General Mariano Alvarez, Cavite. In February of this year, the PIDEA, along with other government agencies, confiscated billions worth of illegal substances in 2 separate trades in the province of Cavite. Nakumpiska ang 36 na kilo ng shabu na nagkakahalaga ng 244.8 million pesos sa Dasmariñas, samantalang 274 kilograms o 1.9 billion pesos naman ng shabu ang nasabat sa operasyon sa Tansa, Cavite. Bureau of Customs and Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency also discovered around 13.1 kilograms of shabu valued at 90 million pesos in a shipment concealed as car mufflers at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport in February of 2019. Customs officials reported that the illegal shipment came from West Covina, California, in the USA, which were declared as car parts and was under an unnamed consignee. Amid all these operations, illegal drugs still find its way into our doorsteps, and quite literally. Last March 19, PIDEA operatives seized millions of pesos worth of illegal drugs packed in tins of Chinese biscuits inside the house of Ayala Alabang Village and at the parking lot of Alabang Town Center, totaling 166 kilos of shabu worth 1.13 billion pesos. 3 Chinese suspects and 1 Filipino contact allegedly involved in the international drug syndicate tagged as the Golden Triangle were also arrested. Hindi tulad ng mga kapuspalad na nakapuruntong at tsinelas sa mga sulok-sulok ng iskinita na malakas na madalas nating makita sa telebisyon na nakatimbwang at walang buhay dahil nanlaban daw umano, sabi ni Cabo, buhay na buhay ang mga inchik na tila nag-iisip ng malalim kung magkano ang gagastusin sa mga abogadong may koneksyon sa piskal o huwes na magpapalaya sa kanila. Mr. President, at this point, people want to know the personalities involved in the well-entrenched, sophisticated operations of drug syndicates. Today, this representation wants to share a good lead. On March 22, a shipment of 276 kilos of suspected shabu with street value of around 1.8 billion pesos was seized at the Manila International Container Port. The Bureau of Customs reported that the illegal drugs were wrapped in drinking tea packaging and were found inside a 40-foot container declared as plastic resin. This shipment was under the consignee identified as Wealth Lotus Empire Corporation. We have it on good information that the main person responsible for the shipment is a Chinese national named Xijian Chu, alias Jackie Ko, who was born in Fujian, China. Jackie Ko, subject to ongoing verification by our local law enforcement agencies with their Southeast Asian counterparts, is said to be on the Interpol watch list and among the wanted personalities in China. Hindi lamang sa kasangkot sa kalakalan ng illegal na droga, bahagi rin siya ng isang malaking kidnapping syndicate dito sa Pilipinas na kumukubra ng ransom sa pamamagitan ng wire transfer at offshore banking. Ang huling kidnapping na kinasangkutan ni Jackie Ko ay nagkakahalaga ng 250 million pesos, Mr. President. Sa mga nakalap naming dokumento, siya ay may-ari ng Paydatong International Logistics Company na nakabase sa Bulacan. But what is interesting is that during the time of the said shipment, Jackie Ko was in the country monitoring. Even revolting is, in spite of his alleged involvement in criminal activities here and in China, he had left Manila via Philippine Airlines flight bound for Vietnam, passing through Singapore on April 3, 2019, few days after the seizure of his shipment of drugs. Hindi na nga nagmadaling tumakas, kampante pang lumipad mula sa NAIA. One may wonder, how can a person of such character escape the stringent scrutiny of the Bureau of Immigration personnel manning our airports, considering that the BID now uses state-of-the-art biometrics-based system for its computers in all international airports nationwide? While we surely celebrate high-impact operations, shenanigans embedded in the rotten system tend to overshadow our progress. Noong nakarang linggo naman, huli sa operasyon ng mga otoridad ang 146 na kilo ng shabu na nakatago sa 114 na bags ng aluminum pallets at tapioca starch na nakaimbak sa Goldwyn Commercial Warehouse sa Barangay Santolan sa Malabon City. Ayon sa PIDEA, malaki ang posibilidad na konektado ang ilegal na kargamentong nagmula sa Cambodia sa international syndicate na Golden Triangle. Mr. President, despite the authorities' seizure of 1 billion peso worth of shabu in Malabon last week, some details presented to the public do not seem to add up. Ang press release ng Bureau of Customs as posted in their Facebook page ay ganito. The shipment was forfeited in favor of the government last March 1, 2019, after the consignee failed to file an import entry with Customs. The Customs and PIDEA jointly inspected the 3 containers and were able to verify that the shipment indeed contained illegal drugs. But instead of immediately seizing the illegal shipment, they decided to allow the shipment to be auctioned off. By doing so, they were hoping to draw out possible members of the drug syndicates who may be interested in bidding on the drug shipment, unquote. The Bureau averred that it deliberately placed the shipment containing illegal drugs for auction, which was later bidded out and won by Goldwyn Commercial. Let's assume for a while that we are buying their story. Question is the BOC legally allowed to subject prohibited goods to public sale or auction? Ating bisitahin ang mga probisyon sa Customs Modernization and Tariffs Act or RA 10863. Section 1139 of the CMTA provides the list of goods in customs custody that shall be subject to disposition. It specifically excluded prohibited goods. Thus, paragraph C, forfeited goods, and I quote, forfeited goods other than prohibited, restricted, regulated goods after liability have been established by the proper administrative or judicial proceedings in conformity with the provisions of this Act. Further, Mr. President, pursuant to Section 1146 of the CMTA, public auction is not, I repeat, is not one of the prescribed means of disposing prohibited goods. In this case, prohibited goods including the shabu contained in 114 bags inside the aluminum pallets with tapioca starch as provided in Section 1146 of this Act should be destroyed and therefore should not have been offered for sale in a public auction. Further still, and this is another issue that PIDEA and BOC have to clarify, is it not completely different from the very nature of what we call controlled delivery, as they had claimed? Controlled delivery my food. What we know from experience and knowledge of the procedure in controlled delivery is that this investigative technique targets specific consignees under the supervision of authorized project officers, basically for the purpose of gathering evidence against the person or persons involved in smuggling-related offenses. Again, assuming that we believe their controlled delivery story, which we of course do not, the Customs and PDEA officials really expect the owners of this shipment to actually participate in the said public auction, knowing fully well that forfeited and seized commodities undergo 100% physical examination prior to disposition. Kahit paikot-ikutin nila ang kwento, napakalabo pa rin ng bersyon ng Bureau of Customs at PDEA ukol sa mga pangyayari. Let me give you another story, one that is more realistic and convincing because it is the real story behind this shipment. To prove my point, let me quote a portion in a report signed by PDEA Regional Director 3, Joel B. Plaza, dated March 11, 2019, 10 days after the forfeiture in favor of the government of the shipment and 11 days before its supposed seizure in the Malabon warehouse. And I quote, "The specimens submitted do not contain any dangerous drugs, controlled precursors, and essential chemicals," unquote. Sa katunayan, agad na pinasubasta or auction ang nasabing kargamento dahilan sa ito ay madaling nabubulok o perishable by nature. On May 22, the subject shipment was released to the winning bidder and delivered to Goldwyn Commercial's warehouse at 89F Malabon Street or Santos Street, Santolan, Malabon City. During the cleaning and washing of the commodity, one of the aluminum pallets accidentally fell off, which exposed an aluminum foil containing the illegal drugs. Immediately thereafter, the winning bidder reported the incident to the Bureau of Customs. Mr. President, we put the BOC and the PDEA on notice that we were not born yesterday. It does not take much to figure out the holes in the plot that some not-so-smart characters in these agencies tried to fabricate but failed miserably. Simply put, this is a case of dishonesty with the intention of misleading the public. Mr. President, as if adding insult to injury, the Bureau of Customs faces another question in leadership and management with the appointment of relieved MICP Collector Bener Bakiran to an even higher post as Customs Deputy Commissioner. Remember my para expose? And the mysterious case of magnetic lifters? Not so long ago, Attorney Bakiran was one of the identified bagmen in the long list of BOC personnel receiving payola or tara from big players inside the Bureau, which this representation had exposed in 2017. Subsequently, as former MICP director or collector, his name surfaced again in congressional inquiries and subjected to probe by both the National Bureau of Investigation and the Department of Justice, which the latter even recommended the filing of criminal charges against him after he failed to prevent massive drug shipments concealed in magnetic lifters from entering into MICP in June of 2018. Despite my expose on the massive corruption inside the Bureau of Customs, much to my dismay, I was informed that just recently, the TARA system has not been by any chance suppressed. Worse, for many customs officials, it remains business as usual. Let me emphasize one point, Mr. President. As per my sources inside the BOC, as well as those regularly transacting business with the agency, Customs Commissioner, retired Chief of Staff General Ray Leonardo Guerrero, has remained untainted by corruption, at least as of this date and as far as this representation is concerned. But while he has reportedly managed to maintain his integrity intact, his leadership is challenged by his apparent failure to exact the same level of honesty and integrity from his subordinates, which true and real leadership is all about. My sources confirm that the following departments and sections in the Bureau of Customs continue to take their tara per container, supposedly distributed as follows. For the Office of the Commissioner, an average of 5,000 pesos per container plus 10% of the collections of each section or office directly under OCOM, or Office of the Commissioner. 3,000 for Intelligence Group, 1,000 to 2,000 pesos for the Enforcement Group, 3,000 pesos for the Risk Management Office, and 2,000 to 3,000 pesos for the Import and Assessment Service or IAS. Kung kani-kanino napupunta ang nasabing mga tara for his office or the Office of the Commissioner, I will leave it to General Guerrero to investigate and find out. Moving on, the MICP and POM district offices received 3,000 pesos per container. Each container with alert order may be charged as high as 50,000 pesos. Holy cow. With the average of 2,000 and 7,000 containers transacted for release every week at both the Port of Manila and MICP, imagine how much tara goes to the pockets of these insatiably corrupt customs officials. May I ask, Mr. President, how can the Bureau thoroughly and sincerely address the country's drug problem if instead of punishing the corrupt or incompetent, or both, this administration is even rewarding these people with other positions in government? Sadly, what they cannot completely throw away, they tend to recycle, this time at the expense of the Bureau of Customs' credibility and to the detriment of the public. When we tolerate corruption and its perpetrators in the institution, reward incompetence rather than weed out the roots that breed it, the public will start to believe it is a given. And customs official will start to believe it is a routine. This is yet another standing challenge to Commissioner Ray Leonardo Guerrero. To uphold your strong integrity and moral principles is a test of your character. The test of your leadership, on the other hand, is how your integrity and principles resound in the halls of your office and influence the actions and behavior of your subalterns. To fail in one is to fail in both. The Filipino people demand much from your leadership, while I continue to vouch for your character as it remains unquestionable. Some of your people are afflicted with severely debilitated credibility, which may eventually reflect on you and the institution that you lead and represent. Mr. President, to call out our authorities to secure our borders against various wastes of other nations, signifying no to the derogation of our national dignity, no to the dishonor of our sovereignty, and no to the desecration of our national identity. In closing, I would like to give credence to the words of Austrian sociologist and historian Ludwig von Mises, and I quote, "There's no more dangerous menace to civilization than government of incompetent, corrupt, or vile men," unquote. Thank you, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we refer the speech of the gentleman senator from Cavite to the Accountability of Public Officers Investigations and Public Order and Dangerous Drugs. I so move, Mr. President.
So referred.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of a very important measure that is being asked by the DOF from us every day. Mr. President, resume consideration of Senate Bill number 2233. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Consideration of Senate Bill 2233 is in order.
Mr. President, move that we recognize the sponsor, Senator Sonny Angara, and to interpolate Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson.
Senator Sani Angara, sponsor of the measure, is recognized and to interpolate Senator Ping Lacson.
May we ask for a 1-minute suspension to allow the staff of the DOF to occupy their seats, Mr. President.
Session suspended.
Hi. Hello, hello.
Okay. You gave it to... Sama ka ba dito? Ha? Matutulong ka ba dito? Ha?
Sit on the
dami dahil. Wala.
Okay ba yung audio call na? Ang gabang kung sino may tara.
Layo nitong figure. For the speaker. Like, lahat. You know what? I think it's correct. If you add it up, it's correct. Ano ba yung meaning mo sa 4-year thing? Total.
Louis,
13 to 16 days.
pagtanong ko yung factors that contribute to
Just look at your sheet and add it up.
Sa
Make sure it's the same. Para we don't refer to it na mali pala.
kung
have it on hand.
Ready to resume, Mr. President.
Session resumed.
Mr. President, may we recognize Senator Sonny Angara and to interpolate Senator Ping Lacson. Senator Pangloss.
Senator Angara and Senator Lacson are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Preliminarily, let me manifest my wholehearted support to the passage of this measure under consideration, not only because I don't smoke, nor drink, but I realize that this piece of legislation is more of a health measure than a revenue legislation, and therefore committed to cast my affirmative vote at the proper time, if only to pay tribute to our distinguished colleague, Senator J.B. Ejercito, and his legacy legislation, the Universal Health Care Act. While I'm sure our colleagues are one in hoping that he will rejoin us, assuming that we will win our re-election bid in the 19th Congress, I would like to take this opportunity to wish him good luck and good health while undergoing hibernation. Having said that, I nonetheless would like to be clarified on some issues relevant to the proposed measure if the distinguished sponsor will kindly allow.
Most willingly, Mr. President, to our very able and clean-living colleague, the Chair of the Committee on Public Order and Games, Mr. President.
First, very relevant question is, why is it labeled sin tax, Mr. President?
I think it's they are deemed, these goods are deemed harmful to our health, Mr. President.
So if it is called sin tax, why include only tobacco? I understand alcohol is not included in this measure.
Alcohol is, there's a separate
Yeah.
bill for that, Mr. President.
I'm just thinking out loud, Mr. President, if we will include all sins, with only the 22 souls in this hall, if we will tax all the sins of 22 people presently occupying this present Congress, led by the Senate President, especially the Senate President pro tempore, and Manny Pacquiao, I'm sure we can hit the trillion mark in revenue generation, Mr. President. If we will only tax all sins of only 22 people in this hall. Anyway, Mr. President, just as to lighten the tone of this interpellation. Yes.
Senator Rizzo, because your name was mentioned.
Yeah, together with the Senate President, and I'm proud of that, Mr. President. But I just want to know the share also of the gentleman from Cavite and the entire Philippines. What would be the share of sin tax?
You'll get zero tax from me, Mr. President.
I don't hear that from your wife, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, Mr. President, I would like to be educated as part of my continuing education as regards the National Government Revenue Program. And there are many sources of revenues, classified as tax and non-tax. My first question is, what is the percentage share of non-tax revenues?
It's around 20%, Mr. President.
20-21%.
Yes, Your Honor.
The rest are all tax revenues,
Our BIR and BOC, that's correct, Mr.
Yeah.
President.
BIR and BOC. And on the tax revenues, what are broken down into further classification, what are the different tax revenues, Mr. President?
While we're waiting for the figures, Mr. President, from the DOF, you would have VAT, you would have income tax, corporate income tax, individual income tax. You would have the various excise taxes, which is also a form of income tax, Mr. President. We're still waiting for the figures. Doc stamp tax, transfer taxes. pero where's the breakdown? He's asking for the breakdown of the different taxes of VAT, ano yung magkano sa income.
You will just submit the data, Mr. President, and I will no longer ask the breakdown of each classification
Yes,
because I
they seem to
understand.
have misplaced the breakdown, Mr. President.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Anyway, it's all in the BSF, Mr. President. We can just look at that.
Sure.
Mr.
We'll
President,
ask them to submit, Mr. President.
based on the BSF, this is of course a document that's part of the President's budget that they submit to Congress, no, for our deliberation. And I noticed that year in and year out, we miss the targets. And my question is, what are the factors that cause the government to miss annually its tax revenue target?
I think they purposely... Yes.
For example, in 2013, no, ang variance natin from between projection and actual, 115 billion. 2014, 159. 2015, 378. 2016, 562. So what are the factors that contribute to this, Mr. President?
Mr. President, this is just anecdotal, no? But I think the DBCC really sets on purpose the targets quite high. I think there's an automatic 10% increase, and unlike in other countries where they usually take into account, they talk to business, the art of setting the targets is a more sophisticated or calibrated practice. I think here in the Philippines, it's they just set a certain percentage. But why do you miss it regularly? Because you set it high, di ba? Where's the... So they're also citing some macroeconomic reasons like higher inflation, higher interest rates, Mr. President.
How about leakages, Mr. President?
Also, they've also mentioned the
And-
enforcement issues, as you mentioned, Mr. President.
I would like to think that leakages or tax leakage is the biggest factor in missing our targets. And even our national government revenue program, I think it really causes a lot of, uncollected revenues. Don't you think so, Mr. President?
I would agree with you, Mr. President. That was also raised in past interpellations regarding fuel smuggling and even cigarette smuggling to a certain extent in the past, Mr. President.
So what is then the tax collection efficiency rate, Mr. President? Overall na lang, wag na yung specifics.
He's saying it's 95%, Mr. President. They missed the target by 5%.
If we base it on target, no?
Yes, yes.
But if we base it on potential collection, what could be a conservative efficiency rate, collection efficiency rate? Especially involving BIR and customs.
60 to 70. So it's usually ranged between 60 to 70%, Mr. President.
Yeah, I understand even the National Tax Research Center does not include in their monitoring the leakages, the shortfall. Di ba? Wala kami makuha data. But they should include in their study kung bakit merong shortfall and what are the factors that contribute to the shortfall.
I would
Kasi
agree with this.
I'll tell you a story, I won't mention this is an airport, an international airport. May nagpasok ng high-priced na liquor. Sabihin natin, makalan. Na-assess ng 1 million pesos kasi kahon eh. And then, here comes the appraiser, the collector, yung customs collector. O sige, bayad ka nga lang ng 250, resibuhan natin 100. So easily, we lost 90% of the potential tax collection, di ba? Revenue. BIR, ganun din. Pag may businessman, may problema, pag-usapan na lang natin, instead of collecting, say, 20 million pesos, minsan na-uwi sa 1 million. So I still would insist that ang leakage karamihan nanggagaling sa corruption, not from, the traditional leakages. Ito yung intangible. And I think NTRC should also focus on this, study this, so we can, kasi ang unang naisip natin, the only, if not the primary solution to increase revenue is to raise new taxes or even raise old taxes. But in fact, if we go by the observation on a day-to-day basis, yung mga experiences, baka we don't even need to be deliberating on new tax measures.
I think the gentleman is right. If we were able to collect the potential, then there would be no need to raise
Baka
new
budget
taxes.
surplus, abutin natin.
Opo, sa totoo lang.
And-
Totally tama ho sila.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to think about ways to more efficiently collect taxes. No? I'm suggesting, and I've suggested this, that why don't we resort to cross-referencing? No? If we can only have a good interconnection or close cross-referencing between and among agencies like LRA, LTO, SEC, di ba? With BIR and DOF, for example. So, madaling hanapin, kanino ba nakapangalan yung maraming sasakyan? Kanino ba nakatitulo yung maraming lupa? Kanino ba nakarehistro o sino ba yung members ng board ng korporasyon? And try to assess or cross-refer it to the individual tax payment being remitted by these individuals. Are we doing that, or do you have any plans at all to go towards that direction? It only takes computerization, Mr. President.
I think there's somewhat of a structural obstacle, Mr. President. This is the confidentiality clause of tax payments. But definitely, I agree with you in principle. The government collection efforts and even the anti-corruption efforts would be better served if there was sharing of information between the agencies, as you suggest, Your Honor.
What is so confidential in, checking with SEC, kung sino mga board directors, and counter-checking it or the data with the individual tax payment of the subject individual? And what is so confidential in checking with LTO kung yung individual taxpayer is not paying enough, which is commensurate to the number of vehicles that he owns? I don't think,
Yeah.
meron bang confidential?
Meron po sa NIRC. In fact, it's a bit of an anomalous situation because even the DOF cannot see what taxpayers pay under because of that provision and that tax code, Mr. President. Meron pong confidential. Yung ano yung binayad po ni taxpayer A sa the Revenue District 1, hindi po na alam ng DOF yun. Nakikita lang nila yung aggregate data.
Pero BIR can always write letters to individual taxpayers, hindi ba?
Pwede ho, pero
Pinatan ng sulat. So you're identified as an individual who is transacting business. So I was thinking, wala naman akong in my individual capacity, no? Not
Yes.
as a member of the board of a corporation, but in my individual capacity, wala naman ako ibang transaction. And then when I checked with BIR, sabi nila, hindi, routine lang yan. Actually, you only have to write as a letter denying that you have engaged in some business transactions. So if they can do that, and the individual concerned, meron talagang business activities like, I don't know, this just some...
it's a valid suggestion, Your Honor. Pero yun nga, minsan yung taga-BIR, hindi niya gagawin yun dahil yun nga, baka minsan suki na niya yung kausap niya. As in the case you mentioned, di ba? You mentioned the case earlier where there is an uncollected amount, but then that BIR official would most likely be conflicted. Hindi na niya susulatan yon dahil may areglo na po sila eh.
Okay, so much for that. I'd like to pick up where Senator Gordon left off in his interpellation last night because I was watching him in the monitor. Yung tax base, while ang sinasabi niya, improve the tax base or widen the tax base by having more employment. I have a different thought on the matter, Mr. President. I have the data, number of BIR registered individual taxpayers, ano? Andito, medyo malabo lang. This is involving OFWs, non-resident citizens, ano? 2012, 2013, 2014, all the way hanggang sa 2016. Ang tax base ng OFW, non-resident citizens, 57,149. How many OFWs do we have, Mr. President? Of course, they cannot be taxed from their earnings abroad. But definitely, they can be taxed with whatever business activities they conduct in the Philippines.
That's correct, Mr. President.
And between 57,000 and 2.3 million OFWs, mukhang napakalaki ng gap. Can we not monitor man lang na yung OFWs na, and it makes a lot of sense for an OFW or a non-resident citizen to invest in business here than in abroad, di ba?
Yes, Mr. President.
So why is there such a big gap sa tax base involving OFWs? 57,000 against 2.3 million.
It's possible, according to the DOF, that maybe a lot of them don't really have businesses. They just retire, so they have investments, but not necessarily businesses, and hence, they are not registered, Mr. President.
But it's a natural, kung ako OFW, kaya ako nagtatrabaho sa abroad para pag-retire ko, may business ako dito. Hindi yung asahan ko lang yung ipon ko. Does it make sense, Mr.
It
President?
absolutely makes perfect sense, and it should give another lead or clue to our enforcement or tax collection agencies as to what leads us to improve collection efficiency.
Okay,
Mr. President.
next column, professionals. How many professionals are there in the Philippines? Since, sabihin na natin 30 years ago, because if, say, pumasa sa board o pumasa sa bar 30 years ago, so that would make him around 60 years of age, or then 60 years of age, professional pa rin yun, tatrabaho pa rin yun. And since 30 years ago, ilan yung pumasa sa bar, ilan yung pumasa sa chemical engineering, ilan yung doktor, ilan ang dentista, ilan yung civil engineers, ilan yung iba pang professionals, Mr. President. Our data, galing sa BIR, there are only 267. Ito yung 5-year average, from 2012 to 2016. 267,720. Ito lang yung nakaka-capture ng BIR for purposes of taxation. Would you believe that there are only 267,720 professionals in the entire country, Mr. President?
It seems hard to believe, Mr. President.
Kaya nga eh.
Yeah.
So we're not capturing.
Because sa abogado pa lang, you have about 10,000 bar passers every year. So, dun pa lang.
Sabi nung nag-OJT sa akin, nakapapasa ng bar, konti lang daw sila na pumapasa. Parang...
Well, it's true. As a percentage, Your Honor.
1,000, not 1,600. Sabi niya, 1,600 lang kami, sir. May kasama ng yabang siguro yun, Sir President.
10 years, sir, 17,000 lang lawyer na pumasa for 10 years.
I stand corrected regarding my
17,000
earlier
lang
figure.
daw
It's
ang
not
nakasama
10,000,
sa past
Mr.
10
President.
years,
I stand corrected.
So kung for the past 30 years, 17 times 3, times 2 na lang, so 34,000. So still, masyado malayo sa lahat ng professionals, 267. So BIR or DOF is not able to capture the potentially, available taxpayers, di ba? Kasi kung i-estimate natin, since 30 years ago, accumulated up to the present time, guesstimate lang sa President, ilan yung professionals? All professions.
One thing pointed out to me by the staff, Mr. President, is some professionals are counted already in the compensation income earners. Let's say a teacher, a new teacher, is a professional, but she is counted under the DepEd kasi winithhold na po yung income niya. So that's one example. I'm waiting for other explanations from the DOF, Your Honor. And those who choose to work in the government, for instance, and would have their compensation tax automatically withheld, would fall under the slide you presented to us under the second to the last heading of compensation income earners, Your Honor.
As a matter of fact, ang medyo ang medyo accurate lang dito yung compensation income earners. Kasi withheld eh.
No choice, no.
No choice, yeah, tax withheld. Tsaka probably minimum wage earners, but self-employed, proprietor, no? 2,062,000.
Eh, dyan ho talaga pumapasok yung enforcement abilities ho ng departamento.
That's exactly my point, Mr. President. We keep raising taxes, no? We keep passing new revenues or revenue measures, but we don't look at some other potential sources of revenues, which is, I think, you know, ito yung mas malaki actually
They are not usually
na namimiss natin.
Yes, I would totally agree with you. It's also the point made by Senator Gordon, Senator Recto, and they, like you, are expressing some frustration as to how we have to keep raising taxes, and perhaps baka pwedeng bayanihan na lang. Ibig sabihin, magtataas tayo, pero kailangan mag-improve din po ng collection.
Kasi sabi mismo ng Supreme Court, ito, taxes are the nation's lifeblood through which government agencies continue to operate and with which the state discharges its functions for the welfare of its constituents. However, looking at the shortfall between projected and actual revenues and the yearly deficit, which the Bureau of Treasury reports at 558 billion for 2018, parang anemic tayo, Mr. President.
We could certainly do better, Mr. President.
Anyway, I won't belabor the issue anymore. I think I have, you know, driven home my point that instead of introducing new revenue measures or raising existing taxes, baka meron pa tayong pagkunan na mas malaki pa. With that, Mr. President, I terminate my interpellation and I reiterate my support to the passage of this measure.
We thank the gentleman from Cavite,
Thank
the
you.
good
Thank you
chair,
very much.
for his support for the measure, and thank him for his questions, Mr. President.
The minority leader is recognized, Senator Frank Drilon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am listed as one of those who will interpret, but in the interest of time, we are barely, how many? 2 session days left. We will not avail of the period of interpretation, but with the permission of the chamber and the sponsor, we just wish to make a certain manifestation on record, which will be the basis of our amendment subsequently.
We would welcome that, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, for the record, I am fully supportive of this bill, which proposes a further increase in the rates of tobacco excise taxes. The manifestation that we are going to make on the record, Mr. President, will be the basis of our amendments later, and we just dispense with asking the actual questions. Mr. President, in 2012, this representation authored and sponsored Republic Act 10351, or the sin tax law, which overhauled the tobacco excise tax system. We thank the good sponsor for acknowledging that we worked on this sin tax law before. This was a bold and decisive action which we took despite the odds and the difficult environment then, to not only increase the tobacco excise taxes, but also to restructure the excise tax system and provide earmarking for health services. Restructuring the excise tax system was more difficult, Mr. President. I can stand here with confidence and say that the sin tax law, or Republic Act 10351 that we worked on, has been an important impact on public health and public finance. The reform that we did in 2012 was difficult because we overhauled the system in a major way. The excise tax system under Republic Act 9334 had 3 problematic features: the price classification freeze, the multi-tiered nature, and the inability to address inflation. This problematic system skewed the tax system in favor of certain brands, and we had to overhaul the system in order to make the tax collection more equitable. As a result of Republic Act 10351, or the sin tax law, the tax system has been simplified. A unitary system with rates indexed to inflation has been put in place. The incidence of smoking has been significantly decreased from 31% in 2008 to 23.3% in 2015. Thanks to the sin tax law, there are approximately 4 million less smokers in the country today, and at least 40,000 deaths have been averted since 2013. After the passage of the sin tax law in 2012, the total revenue from the sin taxes amounted to 446 billion 513 million 340,000 from July 13 to 2017. Let me repeat that, Mr. President. After the passage of the sin tax law in 2012, which we worked on, the total revenue from the sin taxes amounted to a total of 446 billion 513 million 340,000 from 2013 to 2017. But not all of this went to the universal health care program. Under the sin tax reform law, the incremental revenues, or 85% of the tax collections, have been allocated to the universal health program under the National Health Insurance Program and to medical assistance and health enhancement facilities programmed by the Department of Health. The remaining 15%, Mr. President, of the funds from the sin tax remains to be allocated to the programs under Republic Act number 7171 and Republic Act 8240. Republic Act 7171, which is the act to promote the development of farmers in Virginia, Tobago, producing provinces, is intended to extend support to farmers of the Virginia, Tobago producing provinces by encouraging their self-reliance through cooperative projects to increase productivity, livelihood projects for the development of farming systems, agro-industrial projects, infrastructure projects, such as farm-to-market roads. Despite the clear provisions of Republic Act 7171, however, the use of tobacco funds has been described as schizophrenic by some quarters. Tobacco farmers remain among the poorest in the country, even after 20 years of earmarking. Let me repeat that. 15% of all sin tax collected for cigarette goes to the four provinces producing Virginia, Tobago. After 20 years, Mr. President, the tobacco farmers in that region remains to be the poorest in our country. We are in receipt, Mr. President, of a letter from a member of the House of Representatives requesting for amendments that would expand the forms of assistance that local governments may provide to selected farmers. Mr. President, naaabuso na nga, kailangan lawakan pa natin ang areas where these funds can be used. The lawmaker lamented that the trade law has negatively impacted the tobacco industry, which is reeling allegedly from the effects of the sin tax law. This is inaccurate, to say the least, Mr. President. A report by the Action for Economic Reforms, based on the 2017 General Appropriations Act, shows that the value of the tobacco production is at 3.8 billion pesos. I repeat that, Mr. President. The value of the tobacco leaves produced in the north by these four provinces is approximately 3.8 billion pesos. This was confirmed yesterday by the good sponsor upon the information of the resource persons from the Department of Finance. The earmarked funds at 15%, Mr. President, amounted to 14.4 billion under Republic Act 7171 and 3.61 billion under Republic Act 8240, or a total of 18 billion pesos. Let me repeat that, Mr. President. The 15% share of the tobacco-producing provinces from the excise tax of cigarette amounts to approximately 18 billion per year. The total value of the tobacco produced in the northern Luzon provinces is 3.8 billion pesos. The excess tax collection allocated for the tobacco producing regions is more than 4 times bigger than the value of tobacco production in 2018. Let me repeat that for emphasis. The amount that is allocated to the farmers in northern Luzon, tobacco producing regions, is more than 4 times bigger than the value of the tobacco production in 2018. And yet, the tobacco farmers remain among the poorest in our country today. A 2016 COA report has noted irregularities in the utilization of tobacco excise taxes. There is no special amount maintained for the share of certain provinces under Republic Act 7171. It has been found that the utilization of the funds is not in accordance with the law. There is no list of beneficiaries of the proceeds funded by Republic Act 7171 to support the disbursements, the purpose of the procured construction materials, which amounts to millions of pesos. Mr. President, these findings of the COA are just tips in the iceberg. I am sure a deeper examination of the utilization of these funds, which is 4 times larger, I would repeat, than the value of the tobacco leaf being produced by the entire region, cannot be justified. But anyway, because of this, Mr. President, at the proper time, this representation will propose an amendment, which I hope the good sponsor and this chamber will accept and approve, to ensure that the incremental revenues from the increases in tobacco excise taxes will only be used to fund universal health care facilities and health-related projects. Take note, Mr. President, that we are just saying incremental revenues. We are not even trying to resolve and put to proper order the amounts that are being received as a result of the excise tax structure, which we say, as we have indicated, is 4 times bigger than the value of the Virginia leaf tobacco and the native tobaccos being produced in the northern part of this country. I hope that this inequity will be checked or will be addressed in the next Congress. But for purposes of this bill that we are deliberating on today, we hope that the appropriate amendment that would freeze, in effect, the entitlement to the sin tax law to the date or to the point with, or to the amounts, excluding the incremental revenues under the measure under consideration. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. We confirm the role played by the good minority leader during that seminal 2012 reform. And for those who were too young to remember, that vote was only won by one vote, Mr. President, and that's how difficult it is to raise excise taxes on these products, I'm sure, and that's how important that reform was, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate the measure further. I move that we close the period of, may we recognize Senator Recto, Mr. President.
Mr. President, this is primarily a manifestation. Last night, as you recall, we did do the interpolations on this measure with the distinguished sponsor, and we requested to meet with the DOH and the DOF today, and we did meet with them to harmonize the expenditure plan of the Department of Health with regard to the syntax implementation or the universal healthcare implementation, and we also tried to take a look at the gaps in revenue, if at all, Mr. President. So yes, we confirmed that we did meet, and it would appear to me that based on our conversations, there are requests for roughly $359.4 billion in the first year, may be reduced more or less by about 50 billion. And let me state for the record that one, or maybe I should first ask this question just to put it on record as well. How much today does PhilHealth spend?
A day?
Today. I mean in 2019. Roughly 150
Your Honor,
billion.
you're asking about 2019 or 2018?
2018.
2018, around 120 billion.
120 billion. And in the first year of implementation for the year 2020 for the universal health care, how much is being requested under the universal health care?
257, di ba? 257. It's 257 billion, Mr. President.
257
billion.
255 is what I have here. But the point is this. That is 100% increase from where we are today. Okay? And if we are saying that there is already health insurance fraud, there is inefficiency and even possible corruption with 120 billion, and if we increase it to 250 in the first year, then we might be, without fixing the problems, we are in effect increasing the inefficiency, the chances for inefficiency, corruption, and the like.
I would agree, Mr. President, if we do not have solutions and also the absorptive capacity problem.
Precisely my point. So the solution to improving healthcare is not so much throwing the money at the problem. Okay? And based on my conversations with the DOH earlier, more or less we agreed to trim this down a bit as a management tool as well.
Well, we'll welcome whatever you agree upon, Mr. President.
That's right. And that would reduce, at least, I mean, katulad din ng pagbibwis, dapat dahan-dahan yan, yung increase. Same thing with your expenditure.
We agree, Mr. President. There are absorptive issues.
There are absorptive issues, and the solution is not always to throw money at the problem, which especially if the agency not only does have a weak absorptive capacity, but is marred also with insurance fraud, with inefficiency, and corruption, Mr. President. Okay? So we did have that agreement earlier, and you will recall that we were discussing also last night, Mr. President, the problem of the 20 million and 30 million families. To be consistent.
I remember that, Mr. President,
right?
yes.
Because this determines also the value that you need, right? Okay? So I just wanted to put that on record because at the appropriate time we will be introducing many amendments, and we promise to submit to the chairman the amendments by Friday for their perusal, for your perusal, and that we will introduce it formally on Monday.
We would welcome any amendments from the distinguished Senate President Pro Tem.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Before we close the period of interpellation, Mr. President, Upon conferring with the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, I move that Senator De Lima be made co-author of Senate Bill number 2233. As she requested to be made a co-author.
So inserted into the record.
We thank Senator De Lima for her support, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. President, with that, no other member wishes to interpolate the measure. We move to close the period of interpellation. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, may we remind, of course, through the request of the good Ways and Means Chair, Senator Sani Angara, that all members who have amendments on the measure to please submit earlier on so that they can study the measure or the amendments for Monday's deliberation and hopefully approval of the said sin tax on tobacco products. So with that, Mr. President, I move to suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 2233. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is suspended.
With the consent of the body, I move to reconsider the approval on second reading of Senate Bill number 2234. There are further perfecting amendments, Mr. President. This is yung Cruz Naligas Barangay, Mr. President. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion approved.
Mr. President, I move to reopen the period of amendments.
Period of amendments is open.
May we recognize, on behalf of the chairperson, may we recognize the minority floor leader who will deliver or introduce the amendments.
Senator Drilon, minority leader, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. On record, Mr. President, the good sponsor, Senator Escudero, agreed with us that this bill is pursuant to the social justice principle under our Constitution to provide, to alleviate the poverty and render equity and justice to the residents of Cruz Daligas. It is on that premise that we place on record that we should not be used as a profit-making activity of the awardees, and proposed legislation, proposed an amendment which in effect will give Quezon City, who will ultimately become the owner, the right of first refusal in case the grantee resident would sell the property. And that amendment was accepted.
Yes.
Upon a re-examination, however, Mr. President, this will not prevent profit making, because if the awardee will sell the property for market value, the amendment that we introduced will give the Quezon City government the right of first refusal based on market value. And that was not the intention when presented this amendment and concurred in by the chamber. It is on that basis, Mr. President, that we have asked for an opportunity to reconsider the amendment and introduce another amendment which will be consistent with the principal purpose of this measure. With that, Mr. President, we therefore move to delete on page 3, lines 5 to 8, delete the phrase, quote, which shall, among others, include the right of the Quezon City local government to make it compulsory and not subject to their discretion the right of first refusal in case of any sale made thereafter by any of the legitimate citizens of Barangay Cruz Daligas. End of the deletion. In view of that, Mr. President, we move to insert the following paragraphs. No land covered under this act shall be sold, alienated, or conveyed by legitimate residents of Barangay Cruz Daligas except to his or her legal heirs. because the purpose is to provide them with a permanent residence. So I repeat, the amendment will read this way. No land covered under this act shall be sold, alienated, or conveyed by the legitimate residents of the Cruz de Ligas, of the Barangay Cruz de Ligas, except to his or her legal heirs. Should the legitimate resident unlawfully sell, transfer, or otherwise dispose of his or her lot to or any right therein, the transaction shall be null and void. He or she shall also lose his or her right to the land and forfeit the total amount amortization paid thereon. In the event that the legitimate resident dies before full ownership of the land vested on him or her, can I repeat that? In the event the legitimate resident dies before full ownership of the land vested on him is vested. Can I repeat that sentence? In the event that the legitimate resident dies before full ownership of the land is vested on him or her, transfer his or her
Heirs.
transfer to his or her heirs shall take place only upon the assumption of his obligations. In case of failure by the heirs to assume such obligations, the land shall revert to the Quezon City government for disposition.
All right. What does the sponsor say?
No, we accept, Mr. President, on behalf of Senator Escudero.
Since this is in the jurisdiction of the Senate President, we want to find out if this is acceptable.
Accepted,
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
wholeheartedly accepted.
Thank you. With that, Mr. President, no further amendments. We move to close the
Amendment is
period.
accepted. Motion is to close the period of amendment.
That's correct, Mr.
So closed.
Mr. President, move to approve on second reading Senate Bill number 2234.
2234. Any objection? Hearing none. 2234 is approved on second reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to suspend consideration of the same.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Mr. President, move to resume consideration of House Bill number 8667.
Any objection? Hearing none. 8667's consideration is in order.
This is an act granting Basis Conversion Development Authority franchise to construct, install, establish systems for conveyance of electric power. Mr. President, no member wishes to further interpolate the measure. We move to close the period of interpolation.
Any objection? Hearing none. Period of interpolation is closed.
Mr. President, move to open the period of amendment and recognize the sponsor, Senator Grace Poe.
Senator Grace Poe is recognized.
Mr. President, the following are the committee amendments. On page 295, delete the word all and in lieu thereof, insert the word selected.
In selected areas. Any objection? Hearing none. Amendment is adopted.
On the same page, line 6, after the word amended, insert a period and delete the comma and the phrase excluding areas under SUBIC. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none. Amendment adopted.
On the same page, delete lines 7 and 8, and in lieu thereof, insert a new paragraph which shall read as follows. Specifically, the areas covered by this franchise are the following: John Hayes Station, Baguio City; Wallace Air Station, Poro Point, La Union; O'Donnell Transmitter Station, Capas, Tarlac; San Miguel Naval Communication Station, San Antonio, Zambales; Capas Relay Station, Capas, Tarlac; Mount Santa Rita Station, Hermosa, Bataan; and portion of the Clark Special Economic Zone covering the new Clark City, Tarlac. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none. Amendment is adopted.
Okay. On page 1, on the title of the bill, delete the word anywhere. Also, also delete the word all, and in lieu thereof, replace it with the word selected. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendments adopted.
On the same page, delete the phrase of the title excluding areas under the Subic Special Freeport and Economic Zone. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendments adopted.
The title of the measure shall now read as follows. An act granting the Basis Conversion and Development Authority franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, lease, own, manage, and maintain distribution systems for the conveyance of electric power to end user in selected areas covered under Republic Act Number 7227 as amended, otherwise known as the Basis Conversion and Development Act of 1992. I so move.
Yes, so adopted.
These are the individual committee amendments.
Those are the individual, committee amendments. Are there any individual amendments?
Yes, there are individual.
All right, let's proceed with the individual amendments.
On page 2, as interior amendment to the new paragraph covering the franchise areas. To delete items D, which is San Miguel Naval Communications Station in San Antonio, Zambales, and F, Mount Santa Rita Station, Hermosa, Bataan. This is consistent with the request and clarification yesterday of Senator Richard Gordon.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendments adopted.
No further amendments, Mr. President. I move that we close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of amendment is closed.
President, move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8667. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, House Bill 8667 is approved on second reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I ask for a 1-minute suspension?
Session suspended.
investigation o pinapacheck. So, kung wala naman daw, may amendments pa tayo. Oo nga, yun yun. Ano yan? Combination. Isulat mo yung sabihin ko.
Ito medyo, kasi ito siya, medyo substantial. So, dalawa.
Dalawa pale. Anong tawag dito?
Bicameral. Alam na po ng ano to, ni Senator Joel. Ma'am, opo, wala. Second reading. Opo.
Yun, yung LTO lang. Wala pa eh. Basta ka lang. Tinatanong okay ako doon. Okay.
Ito meron din ganito.
Sorry, may pinapaklearance ka.
Gulo na ako. Ano yan? Nakabasa na yan. Yun yung sa joint venture. Yung whole line na yan, you provided that. Ano ba yung parliamentary ano dyan?
Sponsor na lang.
Pumunta yung sweater ko. Lamig.
Okay daw yan? Pinapatanong ni SP kung pwede daw sa inyo yan. Alam mo, in your brain field, kasi even if it's a house bill, it has to undergo the because the Senate bill does not interfere. Hindi na resolution designating the city.
Pwede ka na? Session resumed.
Mr. President,
John
move,
Ferreira.
thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, move to consider House Bill number 6326 on second reading. This is an act converting Midsayap Extension Office located in Midsayap, North Cotabato. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. So considered.
Mr. President, the parliamentary status of the measures that we are now in the period of interpellation, and I believe that no member wish to interpolate the said measure, so I will move to close the period of interpellations. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, I move to open the period of amendments.
Period of amendments. The sponsor is Senator Grace Poe.
No amendment.
There are no amendments, Mr. President. Thank you.
There being no amendments, Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none. Period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 6326. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. House Bill 6326 approved on second reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to suspend consideration of House Bill number 6326.
Consideration is in order, suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 5111. This is establishment of LTO office again in Cagayan de Oro City. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. So considered.
Mr. President, the parliamentary status that we are in the period of interpellations and no member wish to interpolate the said measure, so I move that we close the period of interpellations. So
Any
move.
objection? Hearing none. Period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, I move to open period of amendments.
Period of amendments. Any objection? Senator Grace Poe is recognized.
There are no amendments proposed, Mr.
There being no amendments, Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none. Period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 5111. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. House Bill 5111 is approved on second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same, Mr. President.
Consideration of the measure is suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider House Bill number 6687. This is establishment of LTO office in Morong, province of Rizal. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
The parliamentary status, Mr. President, is that we are in the period of interpellation. No member wish to interpolate on the said measure, so I move that we close the period of interpellations. And
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, I move to open the period of amendments.
Period of amendments open. Senator Grace Poe is recognized.
There are no amendments, Mr. President. Thank you.
Mr. President, there being no amendments, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Any objection? No objection, period of amendments is closed.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second readings House Bill number 6687. So move.
Any objection? Hearing none. House Bill 6687 is approved on second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same, Mr. President.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 8420. This is establishing an LTO office in city of Parañaque. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Consider.
Mr. President, the parliamentary status that we are in the period of interpellation. No member wish to interpolate the measure, so I move that we close the period of interpellations and debate.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, I move to open the period of amendments.
Senator Grace Poe is recognized for the period of amendments.
There are no amendments, Mr. President. Thank you.
There being no amendments, Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of amendments is closed.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8420. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. 8420 is approved on second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same, Mr. President.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Mr. President, I move to consider House Bill number 8437. This is establishment of a regular district office of LTO in the city of Tanawan, 3rd District of Batangas. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Consideration is in order.
Mr. President, the parliamentary status that we are in the period of interpellation and no member wish to interpret the said measure, so I move that we close the period of interpellations and debate.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, I move to open the period of amendments.
Period of amendments is open. Senator Grace Poe is recognized.
There are no amendments, Mr. President.
There
Thank you.
being no amendments, Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8437. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. 8437 is approved on second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same, Mr. President.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to consider House Bill number 8438. This is an establishment of satellite office of LTO in the municipality of Gimba, province of Nueva Ecija.
Any
So moved.
objection? Hearing none. Consideration is in order.
Mr. President, the parliamentary status that we are in the period of interpellation and no member wish to interpolate the same, so I move that we close the period of interpellations.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, I move to open the period of amendments.
Period of amendments is open. Senator Grace Poe recognized.
Mr. President, there are no amendments. Thank you.
With that, Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Hearing no objection, period of amendments is closed.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8438. So move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, House Bill 8438 is approved on second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same, Mr. President.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 8439. This is establishment of satellite office of LTO in San Jose del Monte City, province of Bulacan. So move, Mr. President.
An objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
Mr. President, the parliamentary status that we are in the period of interpellation and debate. No member wish to interpolate the said measure, so I move that we close the period of interpellation.
Period of interpellation is closed.
Move to open the period of amendments, Mr. President.
Period of amendments, Senator Grace Poe.
There are no amendments, Mr.
There
President.
being none, Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8439. I so move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, 8439 is approved on second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same, Mr. President.
Consideration of the measure is suspended.
Mr. President, I move to that we consider House Bill number 8442. This is an establishment of extension office of LTO in the municipality of Infanta, province of Quezon. So move, Mr. President.
No, hearing no objection, motion is approved.
Mr. President, the parliamentary status is that we are in the period of interpellation and there being no member wishing to interpolate, move that we close the period of interpolations.
Period of interpolation is closed.
Move to open the period of amendments.
Period of amendment, Senator Grace Poe.
There are no amendments. Thank you, Mr. President.
Move to close the period of amendments, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8442. So move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, House Bill 8442 is approved on second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same, Mr. President.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move that we consider House Bill number 8872. This is an act converting the land, the LTO Extension Office in the municipality of Rosales, province of Pangasinan. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration order.
Parliamentary status, Mr. President, that we are in the period of interpolation. No member wish to interpolate, so I move to close the period of interpolations and debate.
Hearing no objection, period of interpolation is closed.
Move to open the period of amendments.
Period of amendments, Senator Grace Poe.
There are no amendments. Thank you, Mr. President.
Move to close the period of amendments, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8872. I so move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, House Bill 8872 is approved in second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same, Mr. President.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 8887. This is an act converting LTO Extension Office in Cauayan City, province of Isabela. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, so considered.
Mr. President, we are in the period of interpolation and debate, and no member wishes to interpolate, so I move that we close the period of interpolations and debate.
Hearing no objection, period of interpolation is closed.
Move that we open the period of amendments.
Period of amendment, Senator Grumo.
No amendments. Thank you.
Therefore, Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Hearing no objection, period of amendments is closed.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8887. So move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, 8887 is approved on second reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend consideration of the same.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Move that we suspend for 1 minute.
1 minute suspension.
Okay. Mr. President,
Nakasuspend. Sorry.
Session resumed. Senator Poe.
Mr. President, I would like to reopen the BCDA bill for the consideration for an amendment.
We'd like to entertain, Mr. Majority Leader, would like to entertain a motion to reconsider the
Move that we
approval of
consider,
second
Mr.
reading.
President.
Yeah.
Having said that, we move to consider
Reconsider.
the said
The
measure.
approval of second
The
reading.
approval-
House Bill
of second reading.
8667.
That's the
86.
number, Mr. President.
8667.
This is the BCDA.
8667.
8867, Mr. President.
8667.
8667. Any objection? Hearing none, so reconsidered.
Okay.
What's the
Mr. President,
parliamentary
on page
status now? We would like to go to the, would you like to go to the period of amendments?
Oh, the period of individual amendments.
In period of individual
Move that we
amendments.
open the period of amendments. Mr.
Any
President.
objection? There being none, we're in the period of individual amendments. Senator Grace Poe is recognized.
Mr. President, on page 7, lines 10 to 19, to delete the two provisos. The amendment is recommended by Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. In fact, it will now take out this whole line, the following lines. Provided that the foregoing limitation shall not apply if the grantee shall transfer or assign this franchise or the rights and privileges acquired hereunder to its wholly owned subsidiaries and as contribution to joint ventures of whatever nature and kind with any entity in accordance with applicable constitutional provisions, laws, rules, and regulations. Provided further that any person or entity to which this franchise is sold, transferred, or assigned shall be subject to the same conditions, terms, restrictions, and limitations of this Act. I so move.
So your motion is to delete
To delete that whole line that I just read.
after the word Philippines.
Yes.
And the semicolon replaced with a period.
Yes, Mr.
All
President.
right, and then remove, the reason you're removing this is because it is not, it does not conform to the other franchise measures that we have passed.
Yes, Mr. President, to maintain uniformity and and fairness with the other franchise that we've approved.
All right.
The wording should remain the same.
It's good, for the record. Any objection? Hearing none, amendment is adopted.
No, there are no other
Close.
amendments.
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading
House Bill number 8667.
House Bill 8867.
8667.
8667. So move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, House Bill 8667 is approved on second reading.
Move that we suspend consideration of the same.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ready ka, Grace?
Ano?
Mr. President, we are in receipt of the Bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 6168, entitled An Act Pacific Broadcasting System Incorporated. I move that we consider the said bicameral committee report. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, committee report is to be considered.
Mr. President, I move that we recognize the chairperson of the Senate panel, Senator Grace Poe, for his sponsorship of the bicameral conference committee report.
Senator Grace Poe is recognized.
Mr. President, the Senate and House panel met and fully discussed the disagreeing provisions on House Bill 6168, the franchise of Pacific Broadcasting. For this purpose, the conference committee report is inserted into the records. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Senator Rizal, yes.
I move, Mr. President, to adopt and ratify the bicameral conference committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 6168 and consider the report of the Senate panel as inserted into the records of the Senate. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the bicameral conference committee report is hereby adopted and ratified.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations, Senator Grace. Mr. President, we are also in receipt of the bicameral conference committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 5558, entitled An Act of Giving Franchise to Golden Nation Network Incorporated. I move that we consider the said bicameral committee report.
Any objection? Hearing none, we are considering the bicameral report.
President, I move that we recognize the chairperson of the Senate panel, Senator Grace Poe, for the sponsorship
Senator
of the
Grace
bicameral
Poe is
conference committee report.
recognized.
Mr. President, the Senate and House panel met again and fully discussed the disagreeing provisions on House Bill 5558 on Golden Nation Network. And for this purpose, the conference committee report is inserted into the records of the Senate. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt and ratify the BICAM conference committee report on the disagreeing votes on House Bill number 5558 and consider the report of the Senate panel as inserted into the records of the Senate. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the bicameral report is hereby adopted and ratified.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations, Senator Grace Poe. May I ask for 1 minute suspension, Mr. President?
Session suspended.
Yeah, okay lahat yan, boss. Nagpaalam na ako kay Tito Frank, boss. Oo, boss, kasi amin.
Ano ba gagawin dito sa Mina? na lang tayo sa ano, at least isa lang ito. Oh.
Boss, teka lang. Ready to resume, Mr. President.
Session resumed.
Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 9080. So move, Mr. President.
What page is the, okay, page 3.
Page 3, Mr. President. Number
9080, any objection? Hearing none. Consideration is in order.
Mr. President, we are in the period of interpellation and no member wish to interpolate the measures, so I move that we close the period of interpellations and debate.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, I move that we open the period of amendments.
No amendments, Mr. President.
No amendments?
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of
Any
amendments.
objection? Period of amendments is closed.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading House Bill number 9080. I so move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, House Bill 9080 is approved in second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 8230. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
Mr. President, we are in the period of interpellation and no member wishes to interpolate the said measure. I move that we close the period of interpellation and debate.
Hearing no objection, period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Just a few amendments, Mr. President.
Senator Sani Angara is recognized for the period of amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. On page 2, line 4, to insert the phrase, "The technical description of Barangay 201 is as follows." So move.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 11, line 15, after the acronym COMELEC, to insert the phrase, "On June 8, 1997." So move.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Also on page 11, Mr. President, lines 17 to 18, after the number 20, to delete the phrase "as proclaimed by the Plebiscite Board of Canvassers on June 8, 1997. So move.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
No more amendments, Mr. President.
President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Hearing no objection, period of amendments closed.
President, I move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8230. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, House Bill 8230 is approved on second reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend consideration of the same.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Number 4 na, boss. Page 4. Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 8953. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. In order.
Mr. President, the status is that we are in the period of interpellation and no member wish to interpolate the measure. So I move that we close the period of interpellations and debate.
Hearing no objection, period of interpellation is closed.
Move that we open the period of amendments.
Period of amendments open. Senator Sani Angara is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. On page 1, we delete lines 4 to 12, or the whole section 2, and in lieu thereof, to insert a new section 2 on territorial boundaries to include the metes and bounds and technical description of Barangay St. Francis II as an integral part of House Bill 8953 as certified by the Land Management Bureau and indicated in Committee Report 722. So move.
Any objection? Hearing none. Amendments adopted.
On page 2, line 1, after the acronym COMELEC, to insert the phrase "on September 14, 1997. So move.
Any objection? Hearing none. Amendment adopted.
Also on page 2, lines 3 to 4, after the name St. Francis II, to delete the phrase "as proclaimed by the Plebiscite Board of Canvassers." So move.
Any objection? Hearing none. Amendment adopted.
Anterior amendment, Mr. President, on page 2, line 1, after the number 11, to insert series of 1996, S period 1996. So move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, amendment adopted.
No more amendments, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Hearing no objection, period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8953. So move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, House Bill 8953 is approved on second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 9043. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. In order.
Mr. President, we are in the period of interpellation. No member wish to interpolate the said measure. I move that we close the period of interpellations and debate.
Hearing no objection, period of interpellation is closed.
President, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Period of amendments open. Senator Sani Angara.
Mr. President, the first amendment is to indicate a section title for each section. Section 1, creation of Barangay Victoria Reyes. Section 2, territorial boundaries. Section 3, conduct and supervision of plebiscite. Section 4, incumbent barangay officials. Section 5, public infrastructure and facilities. Section 6, internal revenue allotment shares. And Section 7, effectivity. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendment adopted.
Mr. President, we move to delete lines 4 to 16 of page 1, line 1 to 27 of page 2, and lines 1 to 8 of page 3, which is the whole section 2, and in lieu thereof, to insert a new section 2, to include the metes and bounds and the technical description of Barangay Victoria Reyes as an integral part of House Bill 9043 as certified by the Land Management Bureau and currently flashed on the screen for the perusal of our colleagues, Mr. President. So move.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendment is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are no other amendments.
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Hearing no objection, period of amendments is closed.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 9043. So move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, House Bill 9043 is approved on second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same.
Consideration is suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 9044. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
The parliamentary status that we are in the period of interpellations and debate. No member wish to interpellate. I move that we close the period of interpellations.
Hearing no objection, period of interpellation is closed.
Move to open the period of amendments.
Period of amendment, Senator Sani Angara.
Thank you, Mr. President, Majority Leader. First is an omnibus amendment to replace the name New Era, where it is found in the bill, with the name Sampaloc 5 New Era. So move, Mr. President.
Sampaloc 5 New Era. Omnibus.
Yes, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendments adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President, and also indicate a section title for each section. For Section 1, creation of Barangay Sampaloc 5 New Era. Section 2, territorial boundaries. Section 3, conduct and supervision of plebiscite. And Section 4, incumbent barangay officials. Section 5, public infrastructure and facilities. Section 6, internal revenue allotment share. Section 7, effectivity. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendment adopted.
On page 1, before line 6, to insert the following, to include the metes and bounds of Barangay Sampaloc 5 New Era as certified by the Land Management Bureau and currently flashed on the screen for our colleagues to peruse. We so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Amendment adopted.
Mr. President, on page 3, after line 11, to insert a new paragraph to read as follows. Containing an area of 198,489 square meters, more or less. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendment adopted.
Mr. President, the last amendment is to amend the title to read as follows. An act creating a barangay in the city of Dasmariñas, province of Cavite, to be known as Barangay Sampaloc 5 New Era. So move, Mr. President.
Barangay Sampaloc 5 New Era. Any objection? Hearing none, amendments adopted.
No other amendments. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection, period of amendments is closed.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 9044. I so move.
Hearing no objection, House Bill 9044 is approved on second reading.
Move to suspend the consideration of the same.
Consideration of measures suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 7987. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
Parliamentary status that we are in the period of interpellation. No member wish to interpellate. So I move that we close the period of interpellations.
Hearing no objection, period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Period of amendments open. Senator Sani Angara.
Thank you, Mr. President, Majority Leader. First is to delete lines 6 to 11 of page 1, lines 1 to 28 of page 2, lines 1 to 27 of page 3, and lines 1 to 2 of page 4, which is the whole section 2, and in lieu thereof to insert a new section 2, to include the metes and bounds and technical description of Barangay Ascomo as an integral part of House Bill 7987, as certified by the LMB, and flashed on the screen at present for the perusal of our colleagues, Mr. President. I so move.
Hearing no objection, amendments adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. On page 4, line 5, after the acronym COMELEC, to insert the phrase on March 20, 1994. So move.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Still on page 4, Mr. President, lines 8 to 9, to delete the phrase as proclaimed by the Plebiscite Board of Canvassers on March 20, 1994. So move.
Hearing no objection, amendment adopted.
No other amendments, Mr. President. Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Hearing no objection, period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 7987. So moved.
Hearing no objection, House Bill 7987 is approved in second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of the same.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we consider House Bill number 8112. This is item number 14, Mr. President. 8112. We just skipped number 13, so it's House Bill number 8112.
Any objection? Consideration is in order.
Mr. President, the parliamentary stance is that we are in the period of interpellations and debate. No member wishes to interpellate, so I move that we close the period of interpellations.
Hearing no objection, period of interpellation is closed.
Mr. President, I move to open the period of amendments.
Period of amendments, Senator Angara.
Sani?
Thank you, Mr. President. First amendment is this is the favorite amendment of Senator Drilon. This is the inclusion of the phrase, upon proclamation of the President. There's nothing written. 1 minute suspension, Mr. President.
Session suspended. Hindi, non-working na ito eh. Non-working na ito eh.
We're amending, boss. We're amending
Going
to...
it to working.
Yes, boss. We'll amend the title also.
Ah, okay. Ha? Oo.
Ready to resume, Mr. President.
Session resumed.
Mr. President, the First Amendment on House Bill 81...
This is a period of individual amendments.
Yes, Mr. President.
Proceed.
On page 1 of House Bill 8112, to delete the entire sections 1 and 2, so move.
Any objection? Amendment adopted.
And number 2, to amend Section 1 of Republic Act 10-0807. I will remove the... We will remove this.
Are we looking at the same bill?
Yes, Mr. President. it is House
8112.
Bill. Yes, Mr. President.
You
Here-
deleted section 1 and 2. Therefore, you deleted the entire bill.
We will make a new...
It's the only content.
There is an existing law already, Mr. President, which we will amend, and we will add to the existing law.
All right.
Yeah, we apologize for the confusion. My staff is not prepared. Ready, Mr. President. We would like to insert Senator Drilon's favorite amendment to read as follows for Section 1 of Republic Act 10-0807. We beg the indulgence of our colleague. We'll be repeating this amendment quite a few times. The amendment reads, upon proclamation of the President, February 13 of every year shall be a special non-working holiday, special
Working holiday.
non-working upon proclamation of the President, Mr. President.
Upon proclamation.
So special non-working holiday in the city of Parañaque. So moved, Mr. President.
Can you please clarify to us what we are doing here?
We are now making a new Section 1 where we amend Section 1 of Republic Act 10-0807, and we are adding that favorite phrase of Senator Drilon, Mr.
The
President.
old law is adding, we're not...
Yes, because we deleted the Section 1 of the bill, but we are adding to the existing Section 1 of the old law.
Of the old law.
Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
no, that's the confusion that the Secretariat is encountering. All right.
We
proceed.
apologize, Mr. President. Yeah.
Yeah, are you done with the...
I so move, Mr. President. I reiterate
All
my
right.
motion.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendments adopted.
Now with the title...
Blow yan.
Now with the title of the bill, Mr. President, to delete the entire title and replace it with the new title, an act amending Republic Act number 100807, or an act declaring a working holiday and no class day in schools in the city of Parañaque, Metro Manila, in commemoration of its Foundation Day anniversary. So moved, Mr. President.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, amendments adopted.
No more amendments, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Hearing no objection, period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8112. So move.
Any objection? Hearing none, 8112 is approved on second reading.
Mr. President, I move to suspend consideration of the same.
Consideration of measures suspended.
Mr. President, I move that we consider House Bill number 7504. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
Parliamentary status that we are in the period of interpellations and debate. No member wish to interpolate, so I move that we close the period of interpellations.
Any objection? Period of interpellations closed.
Move to open the period of amendments.
Period of amendments, Senator Angara is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, Majority Leader. First, we on page 1, line 2, to replace the word non-working with working. So move.
Any objection? Amendment adopted.
Again, the famous favorite Drilon amendment on page 1, line 4, to insert a new sentence to read as follows: upon proclamation of the President, November 28th of every year shall be a special non-working holiday in the province of Sarangani. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, amendment is adopted.
Last amendment is in the title of the bill to replace the word non-working with working. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
No other amendments, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Period of amendments closed.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading House Bill number 7504. So move.
Any objection? Hearing none. Senate Bill, House Bill 7504 is approved, second reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend the consideration of the same.
Consideration suspended.
Move for 1 minute suspension, Mr. President.
Session suspended. Hindi, ganito yun.
The practice is that hindi allowed. Sa house pwede yan. Sa house pwede yan. Sa house ginagawa. Maganda kung pwede. Pareho naman to eh.
I so move, pag ninove mo yung amendment na yun, sabihin mo wherever it may be found. Kasi iba-ibang location. Okay? Oh. 6:20, tatayo ako. Hindi. Title lang. Pwedeng number lang lahat. Oh. Hindi, wag. House Bill. Say me, House Bill. Session resumed. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we consider the following House bills, Mr. President.
Yes.
House Bill number 8699, House Bill number
8697.
8697, House Bill number 8696, House Bill number 6161, House Bill number 6592, House Bill number 6781, House Bill number 5060, House Bill number 5564, House Bill number 3526, House Bill number 6690, House Bill number 3404, House Bill number 8700, House Bill number 6688, House Bill number 2290, House Bill number 5562, House Bill number 5687, House Bill number 6084, House Bill number and House Bill number 5690. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the enumerated House bills are in order.
The parliamentary status.
The
Yes, Mr. President.
Senator,
Well, Mr. President, the parliamentary status of these following House bills is that we are in the period of interpellation and debate.
they are all in the period of
Yes.
interpellation. So,
Yes,
what is
Mr.
the pleasure of the
President.
majority leader?
No member wish to interpolate the said measures, and so I move that we close the period of interpellation and debates.
Senator
So moved, Mr.
Drilon, the minority leader is
Yes, Mr. President, we interpose no objection to these bills being taken together during the period of interpellation, and I assume in the period of amendments, the same procedure will follow. We are interposing no objection because of the lateness of the hour. But this consent to this process should not be taken and should not be cited in the future
as a precedent.
as a precedent.
Yes, I agree. We place that on record. We place the manifestation of the minority leader on
And
record.
we thank the minority leader.
All right, so the motion is to
Close the period
close
of
all
interpellation.
the period of interpolations in all the enumerated House bills. Any objection? Hearing none. Closed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now I move that we open the period of amendments for all these measures, Mr. President, and recognize the sponsor of the measure, Senator
Senator
Sani.
Sani Angara is recognized for the omnibus amendments to the enumerated House bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader and Minority Leader. We have a few omnibus amendments, and wherever they may be found in the bills, we
Wherever
move
they
to
may be
replace
found. Oh.
reference to all non-working with working. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Adopted.
Mr. President, the second omnibus amendment to be proposed is the inclusion of the phrase, upon proclamation of the President, wherever these phrases may be found, insert the date of the proposed holiday of every year, which shall be a special non-working holiday in the LGU adverted to in that bill, wherever it may be found, Mr. President. So move.
Any objection? Amendment adopted. What about the Drilon amendment? That's the Drilon amendment. I did not hear you say about whether the President will...
Meron po, upon proclamation of the President, we insert
Upon
the date.
proclamation of the
Opo.
President.
That's,
Yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Alright,
the first
alright.
phrase of the amendment, Mr.
Okay,
President.
okay. So you saw adopted already.
Mr. President, are we closing it? Closing?
Any amendment? Any more
Mr.
amendment?
President, if I would ask the Majority Leader to move that we close the period of amendments for all of the House
Enumerated
bills,
House bills.
except for 8699, 8696, 6592, and 5690, because there are additional amendments to those four bills, Mr. President.
We join the motion of the distinguished sponsor,
All right.
Mr. President.
All the other House bills unmentioned and enumerated earlier, the period of amendments is closed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President,
8699.
8699 first. What is your amendment? You would say 8699.
Mr. President, the parliamentary states that we are still in the period of amendments, and I'd like to recognize the sponsor, Senator Sani Angara.
Yes, we're on 8699, period of amendment.
Yes, Mr. President. On page 1, line 3, after the word Davao, to insert the phrase Del Sur. So move.
Any objection? Amendment adopted.
On the title of the bill, after the phrase Province of Davao, to insert the same phrase Del Sur. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Amendment adopted.
No other amendments, Mr. President.
Lahat na yan?
Close.
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Period of amendments for 8699 is closed.
Mr. President, we have amendments to House Bill number 8696.
You may
Additional-
proceed. Proceed.
Mr. President, on page 1 of House Bill 8696, this is the Jose Maria Panganiban Day in the province of Camarines Norte, to delete the entire sections 1 and 2. So move.
Any objection? Amendment adopted.
And now we've already adopted the other, that's all, Mr. President, because we've already adopted the other two
President,
amendments.
Therefore, we move that we close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none. Period of amendments closed for 8696. What is the two others? What are the two others?
We
61,
would like to ask the sponsor, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I apologize. Could we reconsider the approval of House Bill 8696?
We haven't passed it on second reading anyway.
We have
Okay.
not passed it.
Could we reopen the period of amendments, Mr. President?
Period of amendments open.
Because we have a new title which I must read. This is an act, we delete the entire title of Republic Act 9090 and we replace it with a new title, an act amending Republic Act 9090 or an act declaring February 1st of every year as Jose Maria C. Panganiban Day and a special working public holiday in the province of Camarines Norte. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Amendment adopted.
No other amendments, Mr. President.
Move that we close the period of amendments.
Period of amendment for 8696 is closed.
Mr. President, I move that we take up House Bill number 6592 for additional amendments.
6592 in the period of amendment, proceed.
On page 1, lines 4 to 5, to delete the sentence, when the holiday falls on a Saturday or Sunday, the holiday shall be observed on the Monday that follows, and in lieu thereof to insert the sentence, upon proclamation of the President, February 24th every year, shall be a special non-working holiday in the province of Zamboanga, Sibugay. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Amended, adopted.
No other amendments, Mr. President.
All
Close the
right.
period of amendments, Mr. President.
Closed for 6592.
And last.
Lastly,
Mr. President, may we take up House Bill 5690? This is La Union.
5690.
690.
Period of amendment, proceed.
Mr. President, on page 1, lines 3 to 6, to delete the sentence, when the holiday falls on a Saturday or a Sunday, or on a nationally declared non-working holiday, the special non-working day shall be observed on the next business day that follows, and in lieu thereof to insert the sentence, upon proclamation of the President, March 2 of every year, shall be a special non-working holiday in the province of La Union. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Amendment adopted.
No other amendments, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I move that we close the period of amendments. The
Period of
same
amendments
motion.
closed for 5690.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I be allowed to move an omnibus motion, Mr. President, to approve?
We cannot do that. One by one, on second reading.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number 8699. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Second reading, 8699.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading 8697. So move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection. 8697 is approved on second reading.
Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading 8696. So move.
Hearing no objection. 8696 approved on second reading.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading 6161.
Hearing no objection. 6161 is approved on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 6592. So move.
Hearing no objection. 6592 on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 6781. So move.
Hearing no objection. 6781 approved on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 5060.
Any objection? Hearing none. Approved on second reading 5060.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 5564. So move.
Hearing no objection. 5564 approved on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 3526. So move, Mr. President.
Hearing no objection. House Bill 3526 approved on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 6690. So move.
Hearing no objection. 6690 approved on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 3404.
Hearing no objection. 3404 approved on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 8700.
Hearing no objection. 8700 approved on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading 6688.
Hearing no objection. 6688 approved on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 2290.
Hearing no objection. 2290 approved on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 5562.
Hearing no objection, 5562, approve on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 5687.
Hearing no objection, 5687, approve on second reading.
Move to approve on second reading House Bill number 6084.
Hearing no objection, House Bill 6084, approve on second reading.
And move to approve on second reading, Mr. President, House Bill number 5690. So move.
Any objection? Hearing none. House Bill 5690, approved on second reading.
Move to suspend consideration of all these measures, Mr. President.
All the enumerated House bills, suspended consideration.
Ask for 1 minute suspension, Mr. President.
1 minute suspension.
Yung last boss, last page. Pinapahabol ni Tensor, yung Nina, yung ilong.
Oh, sana? Ha? Bihirit ito. Ito. Ha? Ano?
Which one? BCDA? BCC? ROTC? Certified ba? Certified ba yung ROTC? Check? Certified. If you don't pass it, wala na.
understand Sherwin also applied.
Committee report, isang committee report lang yan, di ba? Di ba? Oo. Tirahin mo na, oo. Pasa si Joel. Ah, ito. Joel. Basahin na natin ito para tuloy-tuloy.
Basahin ko itong mga amendment.
Basahin lang niya. May isang ano lang. Isa na lang. Committee report.
Well, ako kasi that's also one of the issues I'll raise because my assertion is that it violates the charter. But sabi ko nga, and Sherwin said, again, explain ako naman.
Yes, sir. Again. Thank you.
Ready to resume, Mr. President.
Session is resumed.
Move to proceed with the reference of business, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
Reference of Business, Committee Report. Committee Report number 730, submitted by the Committee on Local Government on House number 8902, introduced by Representatives Defensor and Primicias Agabas, entitled, An Act Declaring September 9 of every year a special non-working holiday in the Municipality of Mina, Province of Iloilo, in commemoration of its founding day, recommending its approval with amendments, sponsored Senator Sani Angara.
President, move to transfer from the calendar of ordinary business to the calendar of special order, House Bill number 8902. So moved, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? There being none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, Mr. President, I move that we ask the Secretary to read the title of the measure, Mr. President.
The Secretary is directed to read the title of the measure.
House Bill number 8902, an act declaring September 9 of every year a special non-working holiday in the Municipality of Mina, Province of Iloilo, in commemoration of its founding day.
President, may we request that we recognize the sponsor of the measure, Senator Sani Angara.
Senator Angara is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Leader. On 9 September 1968, Republic Act 5442, creating the Municipality of Mina, Province of Iloilo, was signed into law. On July 11, 2012, the Sangguniang Bayan of Mina, Iloilo passed Ordinance Number 2012-216, declaring September 9 of every year as the foundation day of the municipality. There are no existing holidays in the municipality of Mina, and this bill would create September 9, or commemorate September 9 in the municipality of Mina, to commemorate its founding day.
Mr. President, no member wish to interpolate the said measure. May I move that we close the period of interpolation?
Is there any objection? There being none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we open the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? There being none, motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Majority Leader, just 3 amendments. On page 1, line 2, to replace the word non-working with working, so move.
Is there any objection? There being none, motion is approved.
On the same page, line 3, after the word day, insert a new sentence. The Drilon amendment, upon proclamation of the President, September 9 of every year shall be a special non-working holiday in the municipality of Mina, Province of Iloilo. So move.
Is there any objection? There being none, motion is approved.
And lastly, in the title of the bill, to replace the word non-working with working. So move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? There being none, motion is approved.
No other amendments, Mr.
Mr.
President.
President, I move that we close the period of amendments.
Is there any objection? There being none, motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill number
Is there any
8920.
objection? There being none, motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President, and we thank the Majority Leader and our colleagues, the Minority Leader as well. Thank you.
Move that we close the consideration of the same.
Any
Mr. President.
objection? There being none, motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. 1 minute suspension, Mr. President.
Session suspended. Adjourned. Adjourned. Session adjourned. Adjourned. Meron pa ba? May bycam? Meron pa? Ah, designation. Okay, designation. Anong bill to? And so forth. Okay. Ready? Okay. Session is resumed.
Mr. President, I move that we adjourn the session until
Until? Is,
Mr. President, I move that we adjourn the session until...
session is adjourned. Meron pa ba? Anong meron? The minority leader is leaving. Hindi, ano pa ba? Is there anything? Wala na daw eh. No, what do you have? Is there anything to... Did know. I'm here. Yeah, I have no problem. I'm just saying that, baka mag-reconsideration pa yan. Wala na tayong quorum eh. Alam mo eh. Ano pa ba? Is there any, wala na. Is it in the agenda? So where is it now? I know. No, but is it in the agenda? Wala. It's not in the agenda.